welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom. And in this video, we're going to be doing kind of my crossover of looking at both Angel Island and Ellis Island. So this video can be found on the website for the Angel Island Immigration Station Foundation. It is comparing and contrasting immigration experiences at Angel Island and Ellis Island. It was presented on May 12th, I think. This is saying a year ago, so it was 2023. This, of all the videos that I've recorded for this, is the longest. So this is just about an hour and 9 minutes long. So this is a pretty in-depth video on the topic. And it covers a bunch of stuff. And it has both people who are representing Angel Island and then people who are representing Ellis Island. And you really do see the massive historical contrast here in the histories of both of these. How they were kind of built the same, but of course Angel Island's administration wooden building was burnt down, and they just kind of moved somewhere else. Ellis Island was much longer. They had the original wood structure burnt down, and then they rebuilt the stone structure. It's still standing today. Ellis Island was not forgotten. Angel Island was. The goal of Ellis Island here was to process people and get them to the United States. Angel Island was to process people and get them the heck out of the United States. They did not want to let people in. Of course, you have the East Coast, West Coast thing. Angel Island, of course, is in San Francisco Bay, and Ellis Island is in New York Harbor. So, or New Jersey. Yes, and this is, I don't know if they mentioned this in the video. Ellis Island, the building is in New York. The land around it, I think, is in New Jersey. I'm not sure how that works. But that is essentially it. So, it is very interesting. You get people who are representing both. And yes, there did have to be restoration done on Ellis Island because, again, it was shut down. I'm trying to think if it was shut down in, I think it was the 50s. It was the 50s, maybe the 60s. But most of the height of Ellis Island was before World War II. And they had originally had it at the Convent Gardens, which is where they did the immigration, but then they dealt with the whole, we don't want this in our backyard issues. So, or maybe, no, it was Battery Park. So I'm not familiar with New York. I've been briefly to Buffalo to look at a cemetery on my honeymoon, because weird. While we were staying in Niagara Falls, because my husband was doing scramble tournament. And the other closest I came to the East Coast was Georgia, which is the South. So we haven't gotten there yet. I desperately want to go to Ellis Island because I did in fact have family come through there. So, but it is a very interesting, very long, detailed video about the history of both Angel and Ellis Island, and really looking at the stark contrasts between these two, where you had Ellis Island, which was a huge complex of buildings and state-of-the-art hospitals, and people are easily being transferred in, where you talk about them going up the stairs and having like the 6-second medical thing where they're looking at them and figuring out if they were having trouble breathing and stuff like that. And then they were looking for eye diseases, and then it's like, okay, make sure your paperwork's in place. Women had to be picked up. Women and children had to be picked up by someone else, and then off you go. As opposed to Angel Island, where you're there, it's like, get in, get a medical check, where they're doing a heck of a lot more in depth. Then off to the dormitories, and you sit around for weeks, months on end before you have massive, in-depth interviews about all sorts of weird details of your village that sometimes has to match up with people who are meeting you, and you are more likely to be sent back. So, It is a very interesting, again, very well done, very much symposium. This was a more of a conference designed video where you're seeing various slides. It's extremely interesting. I definitely recommend this for the older set if you're homeschooling and looking at this. This is definitely going to be middle school and up, and I really do recommend this video. It's very great to look at these experts talking about the contrast between these two very, very important immigration sites and looking at the history of immigration into the United States, both the European side, and yes, there were various others, Africans, possibly Asians from different portions who came through Ellis Island. The vast majority of it was Europeans. And the same can be said for Angel Island. Why, again, there were Russians and Europeans that did come through and were processed. The vast majority of it came from China and Japan, mostly China, and various Asian countries. So, and one, of course, was called the Ellis Island of the West, which, of course, it was most certainly not. So it is an extremely interesting, very long, again, this is a little over an hour-long video as compared to my 11, 12 minutes, 5-minute videos that I've reviewed for the rest of Angel Island History Month. And yes, we are moving into Ellis Island, where I'm doing a lot more nonfiction as opposed to my Angel Island, which has a lot more fictional stories. So that is really it. There's not much else for me to say. I really do recommend this video. Again, it's on the site for the Angel Island Foundation. So, of course, as always, I will link that in the description below. And we will be moving into Ellis Island, followed by, I think, going into the lighter side, looking at cooking, and then we're going to be looking at women inventors and a whole bunch of other stuff. And I'm doing boxcar children and mysteries and stuff as well. This is being filmed in bulk with a bunch of other stuff on the 16th of January. You guys will be seeing this at the end of May. And I really do hope that I myself will one day do videos in the distant future of both Angel and Ellis Island, because this history is extremely interesting. Angel Island just for itself, Ellis Island because I am in fact connected to it. It's my father's mother's side. Both of her parents' families came through, one from Sweden, one from Germany, and then my father's father, my paternal grandfather, his mother's family came through Ellis Island, again, from Germany. So, yes, I am, at least on my father's side, very much a German Swede. My grandmother's half German, half Swedish. I'm not sure that that's a good thing. She's very temperamental and very much of an artist, and an extremely temperamental artist. But again, I have links to that. So it is a very interesting, again, last month I did Titanic. So this is where they would have come through as well. One of the other, I'm going to bring this up just briefly before I finish the video. The other major contrast is there is physical records for Angel Island. Everything is digital for Ellis. So everything is digital for Ellis Island these days. So again, check out the video. Check out the rest of my channel. And look forward to more. Leave a positive comment if you have one. And thank you.